Okay.
Okay, Genesis 25 through 35, a big chunk of family
Mm-hmm.
uh that we have here. I have some major questions about what Enns didn't write about. So but we'll get there. Not quite to start with. Um, what are your observations of what Enns and Bias are writing about and what we read in these chapters of Genesis?
Well, it reads like a soap opera. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
awful. I
really.
I just can't believe the total dysfunction. And now he says it's because they wanted to make the point that um, even as bad as these people were, God remained faithful.
Yeah,
That was his point.
yeah.
Um, but there's a few places of peace in this that are all the more touching because they're the only places of peace that there are.
Mm-hmm.
In chapter 26, the herders who were building wells and well, let me find it. They were building wells and everyone said this water is ours. They were quarreling.
What
Mhm.
Then
was it
they'd say
on?
this water is ours. And they dug another well and they quarreled over that one also. And finally, they moved to dig another well and they did not quarrel over it. And they said, now the Lord has made room for us and we shall be fruitful in the land.
Where is that,
Yeah,
Catherine?
what page?
Well, that's
Um,
that.
that's on chapter 26, starting at verse 17 and going to 23.
Oh, I
Isaac,
see.
Yeah.
digging wells in the days of Isaac dug again the wells of his father that had been dug in the days of his father Abraham. Um,
Oh, yeah,
but the herd,
Hardin's quarrel, yeah. I see that.
yeah, now the Lord has made room for us and we shall be fruitful in the land. And then following that, this um, Ab, Ab, I never could pronounce his name. Abin,
Abimelech.
Abraham,
Abimelech.
Abimelech,
Abimelech.
Yeah.
Abimelech.
Abimelech. Yeah. Why? And Isaac says, "Why have you come to see me?" That's on verse 26. Why have you come to see me, seeing that you hate me and have sent me away from you? And then Abimelech says, we see plainly that the Lord has been with you. So we say, let there be an oath between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you so that you will do us no harm, just as we have not touched you, and have done to you nothing but good and have sent you away in peace. You are now blessed by the Lord. So they made them a feast and they ate and they drank. I mean, it's just two little interludes of peace in between this conniving,
And
constant
then the conniving
conniving.
is right there where I was reading in the verse 34. It says, so when Esau was 40, he married Judith, and they made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah. Ay, ay, ay. I thought Judith was a good person. Huh.
Uh, yeah.
And in verse 21, No, it's 22.
In
He
which
went in
chapter?
there and dug another well.
Oh, in that same.
There was no dispute about this one, so he named it freedom. Now the Lord has given us freedom to live in the
Where are
land,
you
and we
reading?
will be prosperous.
Where are you reading?
That's 22
2.
in it's verse 22 and 26.
And that your translation calls that, he called it what?
The Good News Bible.
Yeah, what is that? What is it, the word?
Freedom.
And here I have
Freedom.
Rehoboth.
Huh. That's interesting.
It's a little different translation, but some of this Bible called the Good News, it really helps me to understand.
Huh. My footnote says broad places or
Same
room.
here.
Nothing about freedom. That's really fascinating.
Yeah, broad places or room.
Hmm.
The Lord has made
There
room.
was no dispute about this one, so he named it freedom. He said, now the Lord has given us freedom to live in the land, and we will be prosperous here.
Now, there's a really, really, really fascinating interpretation.
It is.
Now, what chapter and verse are we at?
We're in the same chapter and verse, Catherine, you just read for us. It's chapter 26,
6
verse.
and verse 22.
And that Good News translation uses, so let's talk a little bit about that interpretation, because I think that is quite fascinating. So in the New Revised Standard, verse 22 reads, he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not quarrel over it. So he called it Rehoboth, saying, Rehoboth.
Maybe that translates to freedom.
Well, in this it doesn't. Saying, now the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. So
they're talking.
the writers, the interpreters of the Good News have used freedom in a way where the New Revised has said the Lord has made room for us. What do you think about that interpretation of the Good News? And does that make sense? Does that, I just find it quite fascinating that freedom would be the same as making room.
In other words,
now the Lord has given us freedom to live on the land, and we will be prosperous here.
Yeah, making room.
Meaning peaceful.
Huh.
It's a place for them to be free and to be to grow and to do their thing.
I think, I mean, in our contemporary world right now, we have conversations. Well, maybe we don't have conversations. We make assumptions about what freedom means. And
can you be prosperous without freedom?
And so I'm just, this is just such a fascinating difference. And because the translation in the New Revised is not prosperous, but to be fruitful. Is that the same as prosperous? Is making room the same as freedom? So being fruitful does not connote to me being prosperous.
No.
It means that making room so that the land can grow, the land can bloom and do what it is that the land needs to do. Go ahead, Jane Korsberg.
Well, if prosperous equates to essentially making money, then it doesn't fit for you. But
no, it doesn't. Go ahead, Jane Korsberg.
My commentary says something to the effect an undisputed well, and call it Rehoboth, which means open spaces. We are being prepared for the story in which only one of the two brothers can get the real blessing, in which there is bitter jealousy and resentment, and which in the long run will end with room enough for the two brothers to live peacefully in the same land. Could we not see that is Israel, Palestine?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. That's fascinating
That
commentary.
would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Room
So-
for
So
both.
all of this, I mean, the questions I have about all of this are mostly questions that have to do with the lens Peter Enns and Bias have told us that we could read this literature through, and that's the lens of captivity and exile. So it's all written post-exilic about things happened much, much prior to exile. And I question, this is the first time where I've really questioned Peter Enns kind of writing about this. Is it really about the theme of God preferring the younger brother to the elder, allowing the younger to leapfrog over the older and receive his honor? I mean, what does all that have to do with
The land and the fights.
exile? Well, exile. I mean, looking back, I mean, then, so
freedom fits.
So is it about a God who's making room for everyone?
That would be Enz's theory.
And if that is true, then what? Yes, then what does that mean for Israel and Palestine?
What does that have to do with Babylon?
Well,
That's where they are.
Well, I mean, if this is post-exilic
yeah.
and we're always harking back to capture in Babylon and then release from Babylon, it's hard to see through this. Hard to see that through this.
That's kind of what I'm saying. It's hard to see it because that almost seems maybe too simple and beside the point. I'm not sure about that.
You're talking about the fighting today. And I
No.
found something very interesting in his writing here on page 88. There is a map
Yeah.
showing Israel and Judah. And if you look at Jerusalem, where it is, and you look along in the side here, they show the Gaza Strip. And it's the same darn fight. It says on the side in very fine print, it says Philistines. And it's the same darn fight as way back then.
Where is that?
Was in, I don't see the word Philistines in this, but I was last night. I saw I had it in the map.
Well, there's two maps in here, isn't there? There's one earlier.
Maybe
Well,
that's the one I was looking
This
at
is
earlier.
page 88 is the one in the chapters that we are reading.
Yeah.
Well,
And I
if you,
thought I saw Philistines.
the map that you're referring to, Jane, is on page 84.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Right.
But you can hardly read these maps.
I know. I have to use my
I had to get.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I see it, the Philistines over, he doesn't have it in the other one, but he has
No,
it on
he
page
didn't.
84.
Right. On 84, it shows the Philistines in there.
Yeah.
We're still fighting the Philistines, or they are, I should say.
Mhm.
Pretty much.
Just a different name.
Mhm.
Hamas.
So what does the birthright, this sort of recurrent younger son, sort of
Yeah.
usurping the older son. What does that theme? I mean, I'm just not sure I understand the importance of that theme.
Where does he talk about that in the chapter? There's
Well,
several.
he says, well, yeah, he says it in several places, but on page 88, right underneath the map, he says, running throughout Genesis and the entire Old Testament is the theme of God preferring the younger brother to the elder, allowing the younger to leapfrog over the older and receive his honor. And we see these in these stories.
Yeah, and he goes on about that.
And so
even
then
going
we
as
have,
far as Jesus, and I'm going, okay.
and then what? Anne, I didn't hear that.
Sorry.
Well, I didn't hear what you said about
Well, he
Jesus.
goes through David and then Jacob and Esau. No, he didn't go as far as that. Yeah, he goes, he kind of, and you're right, I'm trying to figure out what the deal is.
Well, and so
Why
then
is that important?
page 90, right smack dab in the middle of it. It's the paragraph starts with, that's the best Isaac can do for his firstborn. This back and forth between two brothers is actually a description of the problems between two nations. Edom and Israel have a tense relationship, though much of it is marked by Edom's subjugation to Israel. But during the reign of Jehoram of Judah, Edom revolted against the rule of Judah and set up a king of their own. So I guess I just don't know much. I mean, I know the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. I understand, the whole two kingdom thing. But Edom is not that, right?
No.
Edom is not part of Judah. It's a kingdom on its own.
It says marked by Edom's subjugation to Israel.
Edom is Israel, right?
No.
No.
Edom,
The kingdom of Edom is below Judah.
It's below.
South and east.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Judah.
I see it. It's more like Egypt.
And that's what Esau has. He's got Edom, and Jacob's got Israel. And
they've got an arrow going to Egypt, but if you're in the land over there, you got Jordan and Egypt just pressing up against Israel.
Yeah. Well, and Judah would dissolved. I mean, that's not there in present day.
Well, and then in the next page, he's talking about, I was hoping he could talk more about, the story of Jacob falling asleep and having the dream of the ladder going up to the sky with angels going up and down, because I have heard many sermons on that.
Yeah.
But I really can't bring any of them to mind. N says one purpose of the story is to emphasize that God has chosen Jacob, the latter's lies and deceitfulness notwithstanding, to be the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. But, I know priests, they spin this story into something more meaningful for us. But what is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And why would you use a stone for a pillow?
Well, if that's all you have out there in the desert.
Well, I think page 94 ends as page 94, gets as close as I have seen in this particular set of chapters. He says, we have Israel, deceit, disbelief, and idolatry. Catherine opened us with this soap opera. So Enns writes, the answer once again is that the stories in Genesis mirror Israel's later history. The Israelites, from beginning to end, are not models of virtue or faithfulness to God. Yet, how does God react to all this? God does not overlook these misdeeds as a clueless parent might allow children to run amok in a restaurant. Rather, God disciplines the people and then presses on with the plan anyway, even with a less than stellar cast of characters. God looks past the inadequacies of his people to execute his plan to bring order back into a chaotic world. God will always live up to the agreement he made with Abraham, even to a people in exile.
Where were you reading?
Well, I wish he'd hurry up with Netanyahu.
Page 94.
Okay. Thank you.
Second paragraph.
Further down in the page, he says God is committed sticking to his people no matter what.
Yeah.
There's so many times when people tell me how awful the Old Testament is that I just really want to say, read it.
Read it. Exactly. Read
it. Because there's, it's really, God sticks to us.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he's in the very middle of that paragraph. This is the kind of God we worship, a God who is compassionate and faithful.
Yep. And I liked in the next sentence is one I underlined. You might even say that part of the reason Israel's story is told in this way is to draw attention away from Israel and toward God. And what God does. That's how I interpret it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and as part of that, the blessing that he gives to Abraham,
Right.
It's repeated in this part of Genesis, just like an absolute drumbeat.
Yeah.
It's over and over and over and over. He repeats that. And I wrote down all the instances of it. It's many, many times. I mean, from the beginning of Genesis to now, it's probably, I don't know, at least 15 times. It's just like a drumbeat.
That's a great way to describe that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the pattern, right? That continues to be the pattern that humanity, no matter how dysfunctional these people are, this family is, God continues relentlessly to be faithful. Yeah.
I also found in, let's see, it's in chapter 25, verse 29. That's the stew story. 25, 29. I could almost see that as humor. I mean, I could almost see that as a back and forth between our two daughters, Elizabeth and Emily. One of them comes in from the field and is famished. Esau says to Jacob, let me eat some of that stuff. I'm starving. Jacob says, first give me your inheritance. And then Esau says, I'm about to die. Of what use is an inheritance birthright to me? I mean, can't you just see that? Your two kids? Just saying, I'm starving. Give me your inheritance. I don't care. I'm about ready to die anyway.
Yeah, I can actually see my two guys do that.
Yeah.
A little hyperbole is always helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This version says, I'm starving. Give me some of that red stuff.
Yeah.
That is why he is named Edom. And a note at the bottom says Edom. This name sounds like the Hebrew for red.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever that stew is, it's probably some sort of red meat or something.
Red lentils.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will give it to you if you give me your rights as the firstborn son. Esau says, all right, I am about to die. What good are my rights do me? Jacob answered, first make a vow that you will give me your rights. Esau made the vow and gave his rights to Jacob. Then Jacob gave him some bread and some of the soup. He ate, drank, and then got up and left. That was all Esau cared about, his rights as the firstborn son.
It says, thus Esau despised his birthright. In my translation.
Yours says despised, and Jane's says that's all he cared about. Are those two vastly different things?
Yes.
Yes, they are. I mean, if I were to go with Catherine's description about two siblings kind of going at each other, one is out in the field working hard, and I mean, I can see that happening so clearly. That, and one of them is really joking.
Yeah, both of them are.
Yeah,
I'm starving.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's supposed to be joking. I mean, it's real.
Mm.
But it sure is, it's one of these stories that we all know.
Mm-hmm.
But one interpretation says, I hate, despise, hate my birthright. The other one is joking. I couldn't care about it.
Okay.
And the Hebrew translation, the one from the Jewish Publication Society, said, thus did Esau spurn his birthright.
I like that. So what do you think that's about? I mean, is that
Can we suggest that, imagine that maybe it had something to do with the way Esau is treated, that he felt Jacob was the favorite?
well, that's what I was thinking. I mean, I'm thinking too about the two brothers in the New Testament and the older one who asks for his birthright. He asks for his inheritance, and because he wants to leave the family. And then he
Do you think
does
that
it-
those who heard that story would mentally go back to Esau and Jacob? They hear the story of the two brothers and the inheritance. If they were following the scripture, as you say, that they would know their scripture, especially the Pharisees, that they would relate those two. Maybe I'm just imagining.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, how many, I don't know the answer to this, but I wonder how many stories in Hebrew storytelling are about two brothers. Jane Korsberg.
I'm wondering about the concept of birthright. Does it translate to New Testament believers, to Christ followers?
They were still Jewish, would it? And it never seems to
Contemporary
come out.
Christians, do we have a birthright as
Well, Paul says that when he's saying that you were neither Jew nor Greek, male nor female, but you were all members of Christ's body. So would he be enhancing rather than throwing away the idea of birthright?
We had it all the way through contemporary England with the peerage system, and only the oldest male could inherit anything.
Mhm, yeah.
And now, and to the point where Queen Elizabeth II changed that,
yeah.
where only the males can inherit, because now Princess Charlotte is next in line after George, so that was all changed. So, but you're right, it was still, especially women couldn't inherit.
Well,
Something I find
Middle East yet.
I find that's contrary to that is, as Sharon said, I think it was last week, you're not a Jew unless you were born of a Jewish mother.
Right.
Well, here's all this crap, I'll call it, about men being the higher up over women and having passed down this and that, whatever, in properties. And still, all of a sudden, we find that you're not a Jew unless you're born of a Jewish mother, which
The
really
matriarchal.
places a big honor on her. And they're jealous. That's all I can see.
Could be, could be.
Yeah, that's interesting because, I mean, clearly in this story, particularly, the birthright comes from Isaac, from the
Yeah.
father. And yet it's Rebecca who is behind the
Yes.
scenes.
Mhm. Well, as was Sarah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the same story plays out with Rachel and Leah.
Mhm.
Yeah, same thing.
That's the thing that I kind of wish Enns had spent some time with.
Yeah, he kind of
I wish
skipped
he'd
over
spent
some.
some time with the women throughout these chapters, which is what I want to turn to next, is the story that he completely ignores, and that's the rape of Dinah.
That's the what?
The rape of Dinah.
Oh,
And that is 30. Jacob wrestles and Jacob and Esau meet and they finally become friends. And then we have chapter 34.
Yeah, he skips over a lot of.
Yep, he really finished at 33.
Yeah,
Yeah, he asked, we're supposed to read through 35 and he stops at 33. And I think that why did Enns do that, right? Why did he skip, right? Because it doesn't go to his points, I think, probably that he's trying to make here. And then at the end of chapter 36 or 35, we get another another genealogy, or at least the description of the 12 tribes of Israel, the sons of
the sons of Jacob.
yeah. So
I think that rape of Dinah, is that what's covered in Red Tent, the book? I think so.
you know what?
You ever-
I think I think there's a different story about that. I mean, I know what you're saying,
Yeah. Okay.
but I think that's a different story.
I haven't read that in so long.
I know it's been ages since I've read the Red Tent.
Mhm.
I have a question. So we're on the bottom, and I'm just noticing that in the 12 tribes, you're given equal. It says the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's maid, Dan and Naphtali, the sons of Zilpah, Leah's maid, and they are still considered equal to the sons of Leah and Rachel, which is kind of interesting. 'Cause
Where are
otherwise
you?
would just have this Reuben, Simeon, Libni. You would not have had the rest of them. Dan, Gad, and Asher are still considered part of the 12 tribes of Israel. I just found that interesting that they're.
page are you on, Ann?
Well, I'm on the verse 30, verse 23 of chapter 35. I'm just looking. I'm not talking about what Ben's.
Oh, you're in the Bible.
Sons of Leah.
Yeah, it just kind of hit me that he considers them all equal. As
I
far
see.
as, but yeah, as far as ends, he just stays to the two men.
Yeah.
And later he goes on to talk about them
You'll have to get up there yourself.
coming together. It was just a side thought.
What does he start with? What does N start with? And
Well, he just keeps on with Jacob and Esau. He
Yeah.
doesn't get into that.
so we
You
have
didn't
these.
I have the descendants of Esau here, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah,
So we have these two. I mean, I guess I'm not going to let us bypass Dinah either,
no,
because we have these two horrible stories that we've already won. We have Hagar, who was sent out to die after bearing Ishmael, and we have this rape of Dinah.
chapter is that again? I lost.
Yeah, what chapter?
I mean, I don't want us to just pass over chapter 34.
Thank you.
So
Hmm.
Dinah's the daughter of Leah,
Yeah.
and Shechem rapes her, and then Shechem's father Hamor says, well, why don't we just get him married, get me this girl to be, or Shechem spoke to his father saying, get me this girl to be my wife. And Jacob, the sons are all bent out of shape, which is, I think, a good thing that they're all bent out of shape about that. And then they kind of, again, he says, if we do this, if we make this pact, then everybody can live in peace, and they won't want to do that, partly because he's not circumcised, so he's not a Jew.
Yeah. What I see in that is a foreshadowing of David's daughter, who is raped
David's
by
what?
her.
Yeah.
David's daughter, who was raped
Oh.
by her brother. Neither David nor Jacob seems to be real excited about doing anything about that. It's the brothers that take care of it.
Good point.
Well, it says that Jacob waited for his sons to come back before he said anything.
Yeah. But I mean, as a father, wouldn't you be irate? Neither fathers seem to be, oh, that's too bad, kind of. And the brothers are the ones who take care of the problem or get revenge.
Well,
Yeah, it says because Shechem had disgraced their sister Dinah,
Right.
Jacob's sons answered Shechem and
Yeah,
his
I think
father Hamor
sometimes
in a deceitful way. They said to him, we cannot let our sister marry a man who is not circumcised, and that would be a disgrace to us.
And then that also mirrors the whole Laban, when the servant of Isaac, is that right? The servant of anyway, goes and they meet Rebecca at the well. And Laban steps in as the brother and ends up negotiating. I mean, it's both things are kind of strange where the brothers get involved in the negotiations.
The interesting thing about this is at the very end, Jacob gets mad at the brothers.
Yeah.
He says, you've brought trouble to me by making me odious to the inhabitants of the land. My numbers are few, and if they gather against me, I shall be destroyed. But they said, should our sister be treated like a whore? So Jacob really didn't care. He was
willing to take what he could get out of that agreement. Yeah.
Which was
Jacob's always willing to take what he could get out of any agreement.
Yeah. Jane Korsberg wants to say something.
I think at this time, historically and culturally, the affront would be to the honor or the shame of the family,
Family.
not the honor or the shame of a female daughter.
Yeah.
And what
Which-
Sharon just said all through this, I kept thinking Jacob is like a master of the art of the deal.
He's gonna do what he can do, which precludes way later in the New Testament when Jesus gives more honor to the women.
Mhm.
So it's a total change from what, rather than just to the family.
So also, I mean, I'm also thinking about exile and
Mhm.
living as prisoners in a place that is not your land, and telling this story again through those eyes. And Mary Lou used the word prefigure, I think.
Yeah,
And
that's a
wondering if
prefigure.
it's not instead of a post,
I'm sorry, I'm not quite my eyes
sort
yet.
of um, looking backwards through those contemporary, eyes, through the exilic eyes. And what does that say anything about these family structures? I don't know. I just wonder because I wonder why this story is there.
Well, if you remember back to Babylon, to the exile, post-exile, a lot of the people stayed in Babylon
Yeah.
because that was what they knew. And maybe it really is a story of the art of the deal that, you take what you can and make the best of it. I mean, Jacob was transactional to the nth degree.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was. Go
Jane
ahead.
Syme.
Yeah, go ahead, Jane.
If I may, I'd like to read part of this. It's chapter 5. It's a puzzlement to me.
I'm sorry, chapter
Um,
of what?
35.
Third,
Got in the
30
Bible.
in Genesis?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
God said to Jacob, "Go to Bethel at once and live there. Build an altar there to me, the God who appeared to you when you were running away from your brother Esau." So Jacob said to his family and all who were with him, "Get rid of the foreign gods that you have, purify yourselves and put them and put on clean clothes. We are going to leave here and go to Bethel, where I will," excuse my eyes, "I will build an altar to the God who helped me in the time of my trouble and who has been with me everywhere I have gone." So they gave Jacob all the foreign gods that they had and also the earrings that they were wearing. He buried them beneath the oak tree near Shechem. That buried the earrings with the idols. What did that have to do with idol worship? And when Jacob and his sons started to leave, great fear fell on the people of the nearby town, and they did not pursue them. Jacob came with all his people to Luz, which is now known as Bethel, in the land of Canaan. He built an altar there and named the place for the God of Bethel because God had revealed himself to him there when he was running away from his brother. Rebekah's nurse, Deborah, died and was buried beneath the oaks south of Bethel, so it was named Oak of Weeping. When Jacob returned from Mesopotamia, God appeared to him again and blessed him. God said to him, "Your name is Jacob, but from now on it is Israel." So God named him Israel. And God said to him, "I am Almighty God. Have many children. Nations will be descended from you, and you will be the ancestor of kings. I will give you the land which I gave to Abraham and Isaac, and I will also give it to your descendants after you. Then God left him. There, where God had spoken to him, Jacob set up a memorial stone and consecrated it by pouring wine and olive oil on it. He named the place Bethel.
Yeah. So, yeah. What's your question?
My question is, why? What connection is there with earrings to the,
Well,
I have no idea.
as well as Deborah?
my
Just
Property?
my
history.
commentary says the significance of the earrings is unknown, but in several other instances they are associated with divine images, and
So I don't.
They
particularly
probably had
in
little figure of the
Exodus.
gods.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was,
They
it was
have
the,
little cross earrings today. Maybe they had little figures of the gods on them. I'm sorry, I dropped
Yeah,
my Bible.
okay.
and
Yeah,
wasn't,
you're right, you're
wasn't
right.
it earrings that were melted down and made the calf?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Earrings and jewelry. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
But what we also have in what you just read is that your name is Jacob. No longer shall you be called Jacob, but Israel shall be your name, which, is that huge
Yeah.
fulfilling of the promise finally that that God made to Abraham, that you will have your descendants will be the father. Your descendant will be the father of nations. And now we have that come to pass.
At the top of page 96 was a place that I really liked. Israel means he strives with God. The very name of God's people is a window into things to come. The Israelites make plain and public that they are themselves, they see themselves as a people that struggle with God. And my comment to that was, me too.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, 96, yeah.
So, and of course, then the question, well, at least one of the questions that arises for me is, where did us contemporary, maybe not us who are right here, but where did a contemporary Christian morality come from that says that you have to be certain, and that if you question and struggle, you are somehow less than, when the very nature of the people, the very nature of Israel is to struggle and question. I mean, it completely changes how an individual and how a church community and how a people live a life of either following God, following Jesus, however it is we do, whoever it is we swear our allegiance to, by the very nature of that, is fraught with struggle. That's part and parcel of what this is.
Yeah, which makes you feel badly about these people who are taken in by those who say, well, if you do, if you don't have enough faith or whatever, you're just not gonna.
Yeah, you're
And
not.
it goes to some of the
Yeah.
unique or weird practices. Well, the Jehovah Witnesses, without medical treatment, that you're supposed to be by faith, or the Christian Science families, that it was all by faith, which was truly different.
10 bells already.
Yeah, I know.
Mary Lou?
Yeah, I just, it's a funny thing because that doesn't even have to be said. I grew up in the Methodist church. Nobody ever said to me that you just have to have faith. I don't remember ever hearing that, but I internalized that somehow.
It does, that if you don't.
And it was really in just reading the Old Testament that my eyes were opened, per se. because I realized it was okay. I was okay because I struggled.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting, Mary Lou, because I did not grow up in any church. And I grew up feeling like I would never be able to live up to what God wanted from me. And I think that for me, and from what I read from other people who left Orthodox Judaism, that whole idea of if you don't follow all 613 commandments, you're just on the outs with God.
I will tell you, Sharon, I'm on Facebook with a woman who is an Orthodox, and she tells what her life is like. I read, go along.
Oh, Miriam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Some of it's just crazy. The 3 different dishes and these little bitty things that I'm thinking, what? That's nuts. But that's me, Episcopalian, It's like, really, what is that so critical that your husband doesn't help with such and such or what have you? It's just nuts. But that's me. Yeah. It's interesting. What's even more interesting is that she's an OB nurse.
Yeah.
Has anybody read Rachel Held Evans? Her book about living? Yeah, that's wonderful. It's hysterical, really.
What's the name of the book?
A year of biblical living.
Yeah.
Biblical living.
A year of biblical living.
Oh,
She tries to be the biblical woman, the Old Testament.
Doesn't work, does it?
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's
okay. So we're going to finish up next week with chapter
So we
11.
haven't talked about what we want to do next, and all of a sudden I realized we're here at the end.
I have a suggestion. I was thinking about it today. Beside the fact that I'm being tired of the Old Testament, that maybe it would be just as biblical to read something, maybe helping us take what we've learned with the Old Testament into devotional time or into a prayer life or something a little on a different track. Or you guys think about whatever. I mean, I will go along with it. Think about how might we take this that we've learned into where we are, where each of us is now, and use that.
Okay. There's also, and you said kind of getting a little tired of the Old Testament. Is there a New Testament that we want to address that we haven't yet?
Well, we haven't done some of the minor ones. We've done John and Luke, Acts, and Revelation.
Romans, we did Romans for
Romans. James, is there anything? James isn't too hard to deal with. That wouldn't.
we could do.
Too hard to. I don't know. Think about it. Just think about it.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is there a New Testament or a New Testament collection, as Anne is saying that we might want to.
I know that I really loved what's his face's Book of Psalms. The Psalms thing was really good.
Eugene's.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he hasn't. There's nothing really that I don't think he's.
No, I know that. Well, we'll have to. We'll listen to your expertise, Kathy.
I'm just really not sure what.
What about something with the Psalms or Proverbs?
We've done Psalms,
Proverbs?
not too long ago.
Well, we'll have.
We had talked about prophets, doing one of the
That would be good.
prophets.
Yeah, some Isaiah would be.
Whoa, can we start with something simpler?
Right, Isaiah.
Sure.
A little
We
over
could
the-
start with Amos.
just to even say.
How about some of the minor prophets?
Amos.
Yeah, that would.
Okay,
that would be
let's
fine.
do
I
a
mean,
little research on that and see what we come up with.
all
I
right.
won't see you next week.
What
Okay.
about
I'm
something
at a
on-
convention.
Oh,
What
Have a
about
good
something-
time.
Thank you.
Take care,
So,
everybody.
adios.
Bye bye.
Catherine, what?
What about something on prayer?
That's what I was thinking, Catherine.
Is there something I would want though that to be tied very directly to scripture?
Okay,
So I'm just trying to think
I will
what,
think about it.
do I know anything like that right now, or what might that be? I don't know. So yeah, let's think about those things. So we'll finish this book next week. What am I doing? I think I'm not doing anything next week.
It's the 25th. Oh, it's a high feast day too. It is the feast of St. James.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we'll see you next week and come with some ideas. And if you want to, if you find something that you want people to take a look at before we get together, send out an email or send an email to Sharon. Okay?
Good. Take
Okay.
care,
All right.
everybody.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
guys.
You
Bye.
have a good week.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
week, everyone.